every single game that's released these days has some sort of controversy about it. Either people are offended by the story or they think the difficulty is too hard. But a lot of times I'm very interested in the complaints of gamers because a lot of times what the masses think about a particular project, a lot of times it shines lights on things I didn't notice. Now, I have already reviewed Elden Ring, and to be honest, I completely loved it. I've been playing it about 12 hours every single day for the last couple days, and I can't seem to get enough. It's just so gorgeous and creepy and brutal at times. I've already done a review of it, which shockingly is up to like 80,000 views in the first couple hours. Thanks for all the support on that. But today, we're going to be talking about the negative aspect, which apparently is the fact that it's having some very serious problems on the PlayStation 5, and it seems to be almost broken on some people's PCs. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Now, I feel like part of the conversation around this is people sort of just kind of marveling at, apparently it's one of the best reviewed games in modern history. Whenever you just release an article like this, whenever something gets such an amazing Metacritic, people are going to start to find every single problem with it. And the problems with this are very strange. You see, already people are doing technical analysis of the different versions of Elden Ring. Now, this is with the day one patch. This is not some pre-release build of it. Now, comparing it to the PS5 to the Xbox Series X, it does seem like the Xbox Series X version is slightly smoother. That's what I've been playing on, and to be honest, I've been having almost no problems. I have a little bit of frame dips. I'd say every 4 or 5 hours, I'll have some choppy frame rate for about 5 seconds. Like, for the most part, the game for me has been an absolute dream. But here's the strange part that I feel like started to spark people's attention. If you have a choice to play this on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5, the PS4 version actually has a more stable frame rate. The PS4 version running on backwards compatibility is a better version than the straight up PlayStation 5 version. Now, for a lot of reasons, this is incredibly weird, but I wanted to start to try and investigate, because honestly, I'm not sure I've ever heard of a circumstance where the older version runs better, and then people started to tell me that the game straight up is not working for certain gamers on PC, so I went over here and actually noticed that, surprisingly, it's being downvote bombed to a pretty heavy degree. Now, currently, this is just, it says mixed. Think about the fact that a lot of times whenever I see people giving a bunch of negative reviews to a game on a website like Metacritic, that doesn't have the same weight. In order to actually review a game, to leave feedback on Steam, these are all people who purchased the game. These are not trolls, these are not bots. These are actual people who have spent $60. So their opinion, their complaints have a lot more weight. Now, what's interesting is that everybody's saying the game is not well optimized. Basically, if you're in enclosed areas, it runs very well, but the open areas, it constantly stutters. This is so interesting because everyone's saying that, struggling to maintain a solid 60 FPS even at 1080p on a 3080. Massive stuttering and drops to the mid-20s. The game crashed 4 times within 2 hours. On top of that, the anti-cheat prevents any unofficial mods or fixes. Now, that right there is where I want to pause just for 1 second, because honestly, that is definitely the biggest red flag for 2 separate reasons. A lot of people who play on PC have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on their rig. Obviously, they want to have the most premium of experiences. I definitely know that millions of us enjoy just the fact that when it comes to console gaming, you just pick up the controller and play. But PC gaming, it's meant to be that premium experience. You're paying more money to get more out of it. More frames, more graphics, more resolution, and a lot of times more features, which is the other half of this that's very interesting to consider. In the past, From Software has released some very broken versions of their games. Previous games actually needed to be fixed by fans for years to get to a repaired state, and the way that they would do this is via mods, third-party software, basically a way of trying to make the game run and play better. Fans would have to go into the code and repair it. And because of this new anti-cheat system they're putting into the Steam version, you can't fix your own game. Even if you happen to be a very talented developer and you think, well, I bet I could root around in here and get this a little bit more stable, you can't, because it will deactivate your game. Now, going back to these reviews here, I just find it great that like the amount of people right here are just saying it just lacks features, game is a waste of $60, and he says that after playing 5 hours, stuttering like crazy no matter what settings you're at. Never would I ever have expected to give Elden Ring a downvote based on the game's performance. I'm hardly an FPS snob, but I can live with the lack of ultra screen support. The thing that makes this the whole dilemma is that the poor performance on PC. It's frustrating because this is sad to think they're releasing their magnum opus and the game just stutters and slows down constantly. Now, every single person is just basically complaining about the fact that it is just having so many problems. This is a good game. It is a very, very fun game. It is a very savage game at times, but on certain platforms, you're definitely getting a negative experience. And there's also the problem, apparently, with save file corruption. Now, before we actually look at any other statements from fans, I do want to just say that, thankfully, as of about 30 minutes before I set up this camera, the developers at From Software have released a statement. They're now actually saying, hey, we didn't realize this. We want to actually fix this. Thank you so much for playing Elden Ring. We are currently experiencing some issues that are preventing the game from playing properly under some conditions. We apologize. Main items that we're trying to fix. Basically, anti-cheat failing to launch. Basically, the game, for some people, since the anti-cheat is not working, the game won't work. So straight up, if it won't boot, your game, even if you spent $60, will not activate. Now, here's what's interesting. They talk about the fact that they're trying to fix the frame rate more. They basically say, update all of your graphics drivers and your graphics card. Maybe that will fix it, but it sounds like they're trying to optimize it more. Now, here's the one that, honestly, I hadn't even heard people talking about, but apparently some people are having an issue on the PlayStation 5 where your game isn't saving. Now, as you're exploring in Elden Ring, which is a very, very massive game, whenever you stop and rest, a lot of times it'll automatically save. It basically puts your save file up in the cloud or whatever, right? Well, in this version, apparently what's happening is that the game will randomly shut off. It can save data, may not be saved correctly. We're aware that this can cause issues. You're working on a patch to correct it, but until the patch is released, please save your game manually by exiting the game regularly. Game data will be saved correctly if you fully quit the game by opening the system menu, go into options, and selecting quit game. We're also working on other bug fixes and performance improvements. Now, to me, I'm kind of glad that they're just acknowledging it. I feel like so many developers now try and just put their fingers in their ears and go, la, 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 la. So at least they're just coming out and saying, yes, we're working on it. Yes, we want to fix it. Yes, we hear you immediately. Like, here's what's actually kind of baffling to think. Technically, this game came out 8 hours ago. Like, man, it's really baffling to think about because I've been playing the game for a while, but this released 8 hours ago, and they already have an official statement prepared. I mean, yeah, it's full of typos and stuff, but hey, you know what? I'll take it. At least it shows the developers are reading Twitter. And a lot of the tweets I see about this game are basically saying the game is good, but man, is it a bare bones port. It's got capped 60 frames a second, stuttering issues most likely from software messed up DirectX 12. I also see this interesting pushback. The more people talk about it being the best game ever, like I've noticed these like dedicated Elden Ring haters that are popping up. Now, honestly, I got no problem. Do whatever you want on the internet. I'm not a From Software employee, but I have seen this like lots and lots and lots of tweets just like this. I'm getting Elden Ring, but all this hyperbolic language of it being the greatest game of all time is turning me off. Why must every game either be trash or a masterpiece? There's no middle ground. Now, I'm showing this guy Tony right here, but honestly, I've seen this exact sentiment all over the internet, which is that everybody praising something, so they have to kind of hate it. In fact, I actually was going to put more tweets in this video of this sentiment because I have seen so many people say, this game looks, everybody's saying it's good, so I'm going to say it's bad. But you know what? Gaming is a hobby. Do whatever you want to do with your hobby. If you want to be the hipster hater, that is your business. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts. Honestly, I'm still playing Elden Ring, I'm still loving Elden Ring, and it seems like a lot of you guys are as well. But it's interesting that this technical performance, especially on the PC, has been received so extremely poorly. Thank you so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a giant thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. I have an absolutely splitting headache. I'm sorry if I'm accidentally whispering. I'm not trying to whisper. Oh my god, my brains. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.